Hey everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today I'm going to talk about my top 10 games I played in 2020. So I played a lot of games in 2020. I actually beat 18 games, which is a lot for me. If you follow my progress throughout the years, you know that's a lot for me. So I'm trying to either do the same or top it this year. But either way, I played a ton of games. But 10 games stood out from the rest, and let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10 is Final Fantasy X-2. I loved this game. I thought it was great. I have always liked Final Fantasy X, but I've had issues with it, and I still like it enough that I would, give the sequel a shot. I played it, 15 years ago. I never beat it. I played like 5 hours. Enjoyed it. So I thought, no, this time I'm going to actually go all the way to the end. And I did. I beat this. It's fantastic. It has a great battle system. The characters were really likable. It looks really good. It looks awesome on the Switch. This is a great collection to own, by the way, because it's 10 and 10-2 together on the Switch. I do own this actually on the PS3, and I think I own both on the PS2, or at least 10-2. 10-2 for sure. Either way. This is definitely a must-own, but 10-2 is the one I beat, and that comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Dragon Quest III for the Nintendo Switch. This is the version I played. I have the physical copy of all three, which is the Erdrick trilogy. I thought Dragon Quest III was amazing. This version in particular is great. It's a mobile port, and I realize that some people have slammed it for certain things. There's drawings on the battle screen instead of sprites, and there are some weird issues, but other than that, I feel like who cares? Really nitpicky. I don't personally care. I thought they were great ports, and I really enjoyed my time with it. And Dragon Quest 3, I played all three actually, because I went all the way to number 3, and I thought number 3 was just really, really a fun time. Really good. The only complaint I had about it really was the fact that your party, nobody had any character, nobody had any personality. It wasn't like, oh, the silent protagonist, but all these fun characters. It was like everyone was silent. So that was the only thing I would complain about, but I realize this is from the 80s, and it is more archaic, but this is a great port. It's more accessible. These games, these three in particular on the Switch, like the mobile ports, are a little easier than the originals, because they've just changed things. Like you get more experience after battles and stuff. So they're way more accessible if you don't want to go back to the NES and play like Dragon Warrior 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. So I highly recommend this if you're interested in getting into Dragon Quest, because I really like Dragon Quest now. It's now one of my favorite series, and Dragon Quest 3 was a pure adventure. You go all over the world, there's different towns, people have different accents. It was really, really fun, so I highly recommend it. I loved Dragon Quest 3. Coming in at number 8, we have another Dragon Quest game, and that is Dragon Quest V on the Nintendo DS. And I loved this game, mainly because it was a true JRPG adventure. It was super fun, but it's one of the most unique JRPGs I've ever played, basically because you start off as a little kid, and your character, like the main character, he ages throughout the game. He ends up getting married, and your wife is in your party, and then you have kids, and your kids are in your party. That's really interesting and not something you typically see. So the story was already engaging, but because of that, it just made it way more interesting and fun. So if you're looking for a grand adventure, you will find it here, but it's also super unique. So I really, really, really recommend Dragon Quest V to anybody. It's also a good entry point into the series. They're all kind of the same. You can play Dragon Quest 1, you can play Dragon Quest 11, and you're right at home. So that's why I like the series. It's just super fun, it's comfort food in the JRPG world, and Dragon Quest V was a ton of fun, so highly, highly recommend this. Coming in at number 7 is Yakuza Kawami, and this is fantastic. I always enjoy these. Right now I'm playing the sequel. I'm playing Kawami 2, and I'm just having a blast with it, but Kawami is really, really fun. There's a fun curveball in the sense that this little girl shows up, and your main character, Kiryu, has to deal with it, and it's just So many wacky hijinks. These games are so serious, and then the most crazy thing. Okay, you can be having like there'll be like a shootout or something crazy is happening, and in the street, and then there'll be a guy who runs out in his underwear. Like, it's a really zany Japanese series that I think more people need to definitely check out. So I highly recommend this. It was so fun. I always love these games. Coming in at number 6 is a game I don't own the physical copy of. I've downloaded it on my Vita, actually. But it's a PSP game that I could get for the Vita, and that's Final Fantasy IV, the complete collection. Oh my god, I finally found a Final Fantasy game I connected with. I've had issues with Final Fantasy this whole time, and I finally found the one where I was like, oh my god, I connected with it. I like the main character. I like the story. I'm not like confused, because some of these games it's like one or the other. I'm confused, but I like the characters, or what the hell? Like, it's just really, Final Fantasy is a weird series, but I really liked 4. It was awesome. Everything was enjoyable about it. Everything. I like the battle system. I like the characters. The music is phenomenal. The setting, everything. It was really exciting and really engaging, and I really liked it from start to finish. It was just a solid game. So if you're looking for a really standard, traditional Final Fantasy, that was the one that spoke to me personally. And so yeah, Final Fantasy IV, one of my favorite Final Fantasies ever. Probably in my top 1 or 2, next to something else, but it was a game I played this year, so won't be mentioned on this list. Coming in at number 5 is AI the Somnium Files. Oh my god, I loved this game so much. It's the same guy who created the Zero Escape trilogy, so if you like games like 999 or anything like that, you will definitely like this. So much fun. Oh my god. The puzzles are a little annoying and a little bit frustrating, so I will give that as like a con, but that's because I suck at puzzles. So yeah, sure, I look stuff up because that's not why I was really playing it. I was more playing it for the story. But this is really good. In fact, I would go to say it's probably the 2 main characters in this game are one of my favorite characters, like character duos that I've ever seen in video games. They were just so perfect together. It was just such an interesting crime game, but like with a really unique setting. I just loved it. I thought the premise was so cool. If you like anything like that, visual novels, if you like crime stuff, if you like puzzle games, this is like highly recommended. All right, we're getting up there. So coming in at number 4 is Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Nintendo Switch. And all I have to say about this is this was my first Luigi's Mansion game, so yeah, I definitely have missed out on this series, and what a great place to start. I loved it from start to finish. I thought this was like a phenomenal game. I was so impressed by everything. The gameplay mechanics are so top notch. This is like Nintendo at its finest here. I am like really impressed by everything I played. Just the amount of detail that went into this game with everything is like one of the best I've seen. I was so impressed. I was like, wow, I've missed out on this, but it was really good. So if you like any of these games, you'll like this one, but I recommend this for anybody. It's so much fun. The next game is a game that a lot of people actually didn't like. It was kind of controversial, and I don't know, I just thought it was great. And that's Paper Mario the Origami King. It was so damn good. I was worried because I'd pre-ordered it. I'd already bought it basically. And then everyone's like, it's not going to be like the originals. Well, no kidding, because Paper Mario's really not been like the originals since, it's been a while. So I gave this a shot and I just loved it. I didn't care that the battles didn't give you experience points because I loved them. They were so damn creative and unique. The boss battles are some of the most unique boss battles I have ever seen in a game, period. It was just like really cool, challenging, actually not like a cakewalk by any means, but the music in this game is great. The towns in this game are great. The graphics look fantastic. I liked the gameplay. It was a really cool, fun story. I was engaged the whole time. I just love this. It ended and I thought, wow, what a game. Okay, we are at the final 2 here. Number 2 is a game that I have on the Wii, never finished it, and thought this is my chance to do it and go for it. And that's Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch. Wow. This is amazing. This is one of my favorite games of all time now. This is literally top 10 material for sure. And I literally, this game is in chapters, and every chapter would end, and I would literally be like, no way. Like, I would always be like, gasping and I couldn't believe it. I was like, no. Like, it was one of those where every chapter ended on a cliffhanger and you're like, that character did what? It was just really, really good. It's a really good game. I recommend this to anybody who likes JRPGs. If you don't like JRPGs, do not play this. It's extremely JRPG, but it's really, really good. It has an amazing story, great music. It's an incredibly open world style game, which I hate, but for some reason in this game, because you can make it linear if you follow the story, or you can adventure, it's kind of up to you. And I don't know, it connected with me, and I just loved it. Okay, coming in at number 1 is, again, this is a top 10 game for me of all time. This is one of my favorite games ever now. And, oh my god, and that is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Holy shit. This was so good. I can't describe how excited I was about this game. Like, I was like, I'm just really happy about it. This was amazing. I love Final Fantasy VII for so many reasons. I played Final Fantasy VII in 2019 for the first time, not the first time, but like the first time I beat it was in 2019. I actually beat it 2 days before I had my son. So I remember taking it on thinking, really poor choice because you're probably going to have a baby anytime. But I thought, no, I got this. So I played it on the Switch. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great game. Didn't really not top 10, but like it was good. Final Fantasy VII Remake was just fantastic. Honestly, it's just so damn good. And the funny thing is, the music to Final Fantasy VII, fantastic, amazing, one of the best. But I actually really enjoyed sort of the newer versions of Final Fantasy Remake. Not necessarily more, because if you take the original versions and they're not MIDI and you hear them orchestrated and it's phenomenal. But it was kind of nice to hear that in a game. Because as much as the original soundtrack is great, it's not fully orchestrated. So it was really cool to hear some of these songs that you know and love and you've heard a million times, but like now that you're playing the game and you're Cloud again, but you're hearing these amazing songs, but just fully orchestrated and up to date. It was really nice. And I just really connected with this game, and I thought, okay, I get why people like Final Fantasy VII now. And it's not that I didn't like Final Fantasy VII. It's just, I don't know. I just found it a little convoluted and a little bit, sometimes I was like, what? Like, I don't know. Just sometimes it just I didn't connect with it. It just didn't jive with me. But Final Fantasy VII Remake really takes that, and obviously this is not the full game. It's really one part of Final Fantasy VII. They're gonna have to make like 3 or 4 of these to make it what the original was. And yeah, I get that. I thought personally, a game where the entire game pretty much is spent in Midgar is going to be so boring, so dark, and just not what I like. And then I was totally wrong. I just thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was so good. I loved it. I could not wait to play every second of it. I was just obsessed with it. I loved it. I love the characters. I finally was, liking a lot of these characters that I found didn't have tons of personality before. Like, I really like Cloud now. But Cloud in the original just didn't do it for me that much. But I really liked him in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I really liked Aerith. I liked a bunch of these characters that just were like meh to me. There were moments in this that they could do extra stuff with. Because like I said, a game that is one part of the game, like the whole game is Midgar. They took certain scenes. There were lots of emotions going on here. There are scenes when you want to start crying, and they really did a top-notch job. It was really exciting to explore Midgar and all the different areas and sectors, and wow, I remember beating it thinking like it was like just phenomenal. I just have nothing but amazing things to say about 7 Remake. Damn. Just damn. So those are the games that I played in 2020 that made my top 10. I played 18, so obviously there's 8 games that didn't make the cutoff, but there were still I didn't play a bad game in 2020. Everything I played was great. And they were everything from brand new games that literally just came out to games that came out like 30 years ago or 20 years ago. So it was really fun to kind of play a mixture of all sorts of games. I know a lot of these are JRPGs, but you know, there's games in here that aren't, like AI the Somnium Files, fantastic, super cool, or Yakuza Kawami. I love those games so much. You know, I have to say, nothing brings a smile on my face like playing a Yakuza game. Seriously, I recommend. If you're like, you know, I've never played one of those games, because that was me a couple years ago, play one of those games. I played Yakuza 0 when I was pregnant, and the whole time I was like, what have I been missing? Oh my god, it's so good. So all these games brought a smile to my face. They are incredible. I recommend every single one of them. This is just, it was a great year for games. It was a great year for me personally for playing games. So that's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love sharing what I play and what I beat. I was really proud of myself for beating that many games. But I'm really excited to do more videos for you guys. I'm really glad that this channel is back up and running. So please make sure to click like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.